it's not really surprising, knowing President Trump as well as I do. He wants peace. This guy wants.
So this is going to be a Fox News Cope session about MAMDANI just doing a masterclass, something or other, of getting Trump to do a full 180 on him. Now, are we surprised? Kind of, but to a monitored or like a measured degree, because Mamdani's a charismatic guy. They're both New Yorkers. Trump obviously is going to like the person he spoke to last, even with preconceptions. Yeah, and Mamdani went, I guess supposedly offering some sort of peace. Trump took it. They both got a win from the moderates. Yeah, now conservatives are going to frame this as Trump schooled Mamdani and forced him to play nice, and harsher leftists are going to be... I actually don't know. I don't know if they'd be mad that he's smiling next to Trump. I don't know. Ultimately, he's going to be the mayor of New York. Not having the president be adversarial is probably good for New York. So, anyways.
Won the election. He asked for a meeting. The president met with him. But I don't see how they will reconcile defund, dismantle, no bail laws, empty the jails, and not support ICE in their attempt to enforce the law. I don't see any resolution there. Do you?
New York's always been a sanctuary
Well, Sean, you hit the
city,
nail on the head in your opener there. This
Caroline.
meeting today really proved that President Trump is willing to meet with anybody, to sit across the table, to shake hands, look people in the eye, and have discussions on how they can mutually benefit the American public. And don't forget, President Trump is a lifelong New Yorker. He loves that city. He helped build the skyline as it exists and shines today. So, of course, he wants New York to succeed. He wants all of America to succeed.
It's funny because she was like on her press briefing yesterday talking about how Trump's going to take him to school, like he's going to own him.
Because he is a president for all Americans, despite what the Democrat Party and the leftist...
President for all, as she was also up there yesterday defending his remarks to calling for the death of Democratic congressmen and women for saying, hey, if you're given an illegal order, you don't have to do it.
Media might tell the American people every single day the president wants this country to come together. And you saw that on full display in the Oval Office. Now, actions, of course, speak louder than words. And ultimately, the mayor-elect will be judged by the actions he actually takes in New York. And that has yet to be seen. But as for the actions of President Trump and this administration, rest assured to New Yorkers and all Americans, the president is going to continue to put you first. We're going to continue to slash regulations to bring down prices that were caused by the Democrat Party. We're going to continue to drill, baby, drill, unleash America's energy independence. And, of course, we are
going to drill in New York? What does
this
have to do with fucking New York?
To mass deport illegal criminals from our communities. And ICE will continue to operate in New York City. And that discussion took place in the Oval Office today. President Trump's never going to change his values, but he's always going to try to work with others to make this country great.
But, we are seemingly, Caroline, I really like your thoughts on this. We are at a crossroads because I don't think there is a way, and I'll talk to Stephen A. Smith about this later in the show.
Oh, my God.
I don't see how you reconcile defund, dismantle, no bail laws, and reimagine the police like...
They have to reframe everything he says to make it sound bad, because the policy itself, I don't necessarily agree with it, because framing all mental health calls as like non-dangerous situations isn't really great. So saying that police shouldn't respond to mental health checks, I don't know. I think a lot of times if someone's not in their right mind, you probably want someone who can use force if necessary. But I'm sure that'll be amended. I mean, he kept the old police commissioner, which is a good move. He's not cutting rates of police, which is probably also a good move. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I don't know. I have some overlap with Mamdani. He's definitely significantly to the left of me, but you know, vote blue no matter who, right? And a police ambush is not effective. Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying the police should go like, FBI open up and have the assumption that there's a violent person, but they should be able to respond. You should have someone who's able to respond with force if that becomes necessary. Maybe send an officer and a social worker in. I think that might be the best option. Because you don't want the cops doing mental health like the actual therapeutics part of mental health. And you don't want the social worker doing the law enforcement part of mental health. Yes, maybe one of both.
Like Mamdani wants to do and put in the social workers. I don't see how you reconcile those that want to raise taxes all over the place and the president's strong commitment to creating a thriving business environment and cutting taxes for working men and women, or those that don't want fossil fuel use.
Oh yeah, another benefit of the tip jar in the doctor's office would be no tax.
Where's the middle ground on any of those issues? Law or securing the border, for example. Where do you meet in the middle there?
What does the mayor of New York have to do with securing the border? Take it up with Greg Abbott, man.
Well, look, I think today's meeting between the president and the mayor-elect was a good first step to introduce themselves to one another and to hopefully have a good working relationship moving forward. But again, it doesn't mean, Sean, that President Trump is ever going to change his values. And we know, and the president knows...
Trump changes his values like that. Like, I don't know, we could see Chairman Trump. We've already got public ownership of Intel and whatnot, so maybe this is the future of our country, is we've got our version of Chairman Mao.
And the American people know that ultimately President Trump's policies work and capitalism works. And if you look at what President Trump has already done with respect to the economy, there was a lot of talk on the issue of cost of living because it continues to be a concern for voters. And President Trump is very...
Trump called it affordability a new word that these Democrats just started talking about, and then said, I don't want to hear about it. So, shut up.
Well aware of that, but look at what he's done thus far. It's a proven economic formula that is working when you combine a massive deregulatory campaign to get the government out of the way of small business and American industry.
When you look at what he's done with respect to energy. Cutting the bureaucracy doesn't necessarily cut regulation. Arguably, it makes the time, necessarily so, it makes the time to get through regulation longer.
Independence to unleash America's resources right here at home to drive down oil prices, which we've already seen result in a 20% decrease in oil prices. We have lower prices at the pump today than we did years ago, and those prices are going to continue to decline. If you look at the cost of everyday items,
if we invade Venezuela and take their oil, probably.
And again, they will continue to because of President Trump's economic formula. And then, of course, tax cuts. That is President Trump's bread and butter issue, as one may say. Look at the one big beautiful bill. He already got that done within 6 months in office. And the American people, including in New York, especially in New York, are going to see the fruits of that labor next year when there is more money back in their pockets, when they are keeping more of their hard-earned paychecks to catch up on bills.
Unless they work in a non-service industry or one that doesn't offer overtime, then what?
And to pay for everyday's life expenses. So the President Trump's economic formula does work. It is working. It worked in his first term. And who knows, maybe Mayor Mamdani will go back to New York and maybe he learned a few things from President Trump today.
You may be more hopeful than me on that. I hope so. I hope for the people of New York, but I think taxes are going up. I think that crime is going to get worse, and I think there will be a clash between ICE and Mamdani, but I hope I'm wrong. How's that? Anyway, our White House briefing, Carol.
Also, just looking at some of the regulations that have been repealed. Protections against high overdraft fees. That's fun. Credit card late fees are uncapped now. Basel III apparently is coming down, so banks are going to have to hold less capital. So what this means is that when you deposit a loan, or if you make a deposit, the bank can loan out, say, 90% of that. The more the banks loan out, the better the economy does. But if things start to go bad, they don't have enough of everybody's money to pay them back. And given that it seems like we're in a pretty significant bubble here, that's a little scary to pair with things. Oh,
a dictator walk into a bar.
This might be the most annoying person in politics. That's not true. It's Michael Knowles. But the smug, stupid combo that's rough.
The heads of major countries, nobody cared. This meeting that you people have gone crazy. You know, outside you have hundreds of people waiting. This is just a small little group. For some reason, the press has found this to be a very interesting meeting.
Another regulation is ending the requirement to track and report their emissions for large polluters to track their... Okay, cool.
The biggest people in the world, they come over from countries nobody cares. But they did care about this meeting.
The press was foaming at the mouth. They thought it'd be the biggest brawl since Zelensky.
So did you guys. Yesterday, you were like, Trump's totally going to school him.